Hey, Al, can you hear me back there? Hey, can you see Tony back there? Can you just sit there and say, Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Sunday. Glad you could join us on the first day of Advent, the first day of December. And on that note, we're going to start singing. It's December, some Christmas carols, and hope that you'll sing along with us. So we're going to do verses 1 and 2 of that classic "O Come All Ye Faithful." It's up on the big hymnal right there. Oh, come all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to come and behold Him, born the King of ages. Oh, come let us adore Him. Oh, come let us adore Him. Oh, come let us adore in Christ the Lord. Sing choirs of angels, sing in exaltation. Oh, sing all ye citizens of glory to God, glory in the highest. Oh, come let us adore Him. Oh, come let us adore Him. Oh, come let us adore in Christ the Lord. All right, awesome. Well, here's the first Nova. We're going to sing the first two verses, also on our big hymnal. Angels did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay. In fields lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome here at Unity Spiritual Center of Spokane, as well as welcome to the people joining us online as well, where our mission is transforming lives and inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world. My name is Karen Dunmore, and I am pleased to be your platform assistant this morning. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones, and before you do, check in and tell the world you are here and let them know they can tune into Unity Spiritual Center online. So today is the first day of Advent, and as we begin this Advent season, we are just full of music today. It's just great. And we have a special musical guest and a special speaker guest, I guess. I'm not sure. And anyway, I copied this just a little half a paragraph from the booklets that are out on the table out there. Please grab one. It's the Advent booklet, and there is a little saying for each day. So this is from Christmas in My Heart, Christmas in My Hands. On this first day of Advent, I practice seeing beyond circumstances and behold the Christ light in myself and everyone I know. I place my faith in the truth until it fills my consciousness and becomes my life. I love that one. So this morning, we want to begin our time together by sharing our opening affirmation. I will say it once and then ask you to repeat it with me. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. Together? There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. This is Unity's foundation principle: one presence, one power, one life, living through and as each one of us. This morning, we will hear from Amber McKenzie, who will be sharing a message called Faith is an Inside Job. I'm just going to say Reverend David, because last service I said David McKenzie, will be leading the meditation. And we are being blessed musically this morning by Sean and Tawny Wright and Janice Mayfield, who is going to play the harp for us. Fabulous. I lost my place. Okay. Anyway, I am going to step down as we sing our community song.
We'd love for you to stand if you could. We're going to sing "It Came Upon a Midnight Clear," and there's 3 verses.
Thank Good morning. My name's Linda Tweedy, and I have the announcements. Oh, the Tree of Sharing, there's 4 tags left back out there. One? Only one. Oh, one left. So if you are inspired to go pick that off and buy the gift and bring it back by December the 8th, unwrapped, we'd sure appreciate it. And I'm going to reiterate, the Advent book is out there on the table, on the bookstore. Be sure and pick one up before you leave so that you've got it for the season, because it's really good. There's a great little story in here about the fourth wise man who was bringing fruitcake. So you got to pick it up so you could read the rest of the story. Now I'm going to turn it over to Tawny about the Broadway.
All right, if I'm up here, I'm going to promote some tickets for the Broadway Christmas on Bernard. It is a fabulous show, and it is a show for families, so bring your grandkids, bring your kids, bring anybody, bring a friend, bring a not friend, but buy tickets out there today. We have tickets online that you can also purchase. It makes life for us really easy because we don't have to handle all the money. However, if you want to use cash, you can go to the lovely bookstore where you'll have that ability as well too. But the show is fun, and we hope to see you all there.
And now I'm turning it over to Ron and Sherry.
Thank you. We just want to invite all of you to come and join us on Friday night with your Unity family for the Hollyberry Ball at Manitou Golf and Country Club. It starts at 6, and you don't want to miss out. This is the event of start the Christmas season. We've got childcare available. Just let us know. This is your last time to buy tickets, and the meals are amazing. You heard Jeff Hunter talk about that. And we still need procurement, but we need it today. And we hope to see you all there.
I forgot to announce too that we have childcare, but you need to let me know or Jackie or the bookstore. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is love. There is love. In the stillness of this moment, there is love. There is love. And I rest and trust and breathe.
I'd like everybody to take a deep, deep breath in, if you would, and breathe in faith. And hold it. And now breathe out fear. Do you know what they call it when people breathe together? They call it a conspiracy. So let us enter into a conspiracy of faith for a few moments. Take another breath and breathe in faith. And breathe out fear. In one of his sermons, Dr. Martin Luther King quoted an old English proverb, a proverb that was commonly found on the wall of homes throughout the South. The proverb goes like this: Fear knocked at the door, faith answered, there was no one there. Fear knocked at the door. Faith answered. And no one was there. What is knocking at your door today? Each day we have changes and challenges, circumstances, events that knock at the doors of our lives, wanting entry into our daily life, into our consciousness, into our circumstances. These are real life issues. Issues like health, our well-being, our peace of mind. Take a moment and think about what's knocking at the door of your life right now. What challenge stands ready to challenge you? Perhaps it is a health challenge, some dis-ease in your body temple. Perhaps knocking at your door is a sense of lack, limitation of supply. Maybe there's a relationship that has become difficult and challenging. And of course, always knocking at our door are the changes and circumstances that are going on in our world. Horrible things that we see on the news, political unrest, climate change, whatever. Each day, these and many more things knock at the door of your life. Take faith with you to open that door. You have all the faith you will ever need. You came with it. You are equipped with it. Take it to the door of your circumstances and open the door with faith. what you will find with faith is that nothing of any consequence is there. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So we bring faith into our lives, into our circumstances, into this day and into the season ahead. We meet it with faith. Spend a moment in the silence and feel the faith that supports you now and always. For this conspiracy of faith, we give thanks. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you. Wow, that was beautiful. And thank you, Janice, for the amazing harp music. Is this not fabulous? I just want like someone playing the harp around me at all times. I think I'd feel kind of like I was in heaven or something. Well, happy Thanksgiving Sunday, everyone, and happy December 1st. It is the first day of Advent, when we begin our 4-week journey into Christmas and into bringing forth our own inner Christ child. As such, over the next 4 Sundays, the ministers will be speaking on a different theme as it relates to Advent. And it just so happens that this first Sunday of Advent, the theme that I will be speaking on is faith. So, as we all know, there are no accidents. And it would seem this particular topic was something that I needed to speak on. I needed this because I apparently was not clear on what faith is. Okay? So, full disclosure, I want to share with you the initial questions I asked myself when I realized I was going to be talking about faith in today's message. So when I first heard this, I was like, okay. I was thinking for about 10 minutes. I was thinking about what I would talk about, that type of thing. And so in those 10 minutes, in contemplation. After that, I said to myself, wait, what? What am I talking about? I don't know. What is faith? This is the question I had. And more importantly, what did I have faith in? I was drawing a complete blank, total blank. I mean, I had learned all about what Unity teaches is faith in my Amazing 12 Powers class with Reverend David, and I learned a lot. And in that, time, I knew in my head what faith was, according to Unity. But it had not traveled to my heart yet. And so that's why I needed to do this talk. So what I kept coming back to as my the faith that I understood was the faith that I had growing up in a strict religion. So as I said, I was having a hard time reconciling the faith that I grew up with and the faith that Unity teaches and New Thought teaches. So, and I know a lot of us have had this issue. So back then, for me, faith was something I had to do, even though it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me, even when it felt wrong. I guess we could call that kind of faith fake faith, kind of like fake news. It wasn't real. It felt inauthentic. It felt made up, kind of on the fly. I felt like I had to have faith in someone else and their interpretation of a book written thousands of years ago that didn't really resonate with me. How it was interpreted to me, it just fell flat. It was a type of faith that felt unsteady, disappointing, arbitrary. Yet according to everyone around me, if I didn't have this type of faith, it would lead to my own destruction. And by that I mean it would lead me to the kingdom, to heaven. So if I didn't have this faith, I wouldn't go to heaven, or I wouldn't go to that place that's beyond this time and place, according to someone else. So I really felt a bit put off by faith. So with this conflicted version in mind, as I was going into this talk, I did what any of us would do when we're not sure of something. I Googled it. Which of course was not really that helpful, but here's what I found. The Oxford Dictionary defines faith as complete trust or confidence in someone or something else. Okay, that was kind of like, all right. But this second definition was pretty hilarious. It said, a strong belief in God or in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. So this definition nailed it for me as far as the faith I was accustomed to. It was the type of faith that was based on fear and the unknown, apprehension. So as is indicated here in these cultural definitions, and true in many cultures and societies, faith can be seen as something truly remarkable, or it can be seen as kind of a dirty 5-letter word that is nothing more than wishful thinking or fanciful hope of a reality that may or may not come true. We are oftentimes taught to have faith in something, right? In a person, in a religion, in a book, in a belief system, in a government, in a guru, something out there. Rarely are we taught to have faith in ourselves and our own connection to God, to Source. As such, faith has been described as many things, including blind, unprovable, lofty, superstitious, unreasoned, illogical, passive, uncritical, dangerous, unhinged. And if I were to be perfectly honest, this was the version of faith I resonated most with up until a few years ago, when Spirit woke me up to the truth of a new kind of faith that I myself was embarking on my own, just from the inside. And that was spiritual faith, which is what Unity teaches and is in direct opposition to the other kind of faith that I had known. So for me, true spiritual faith was something I could root my life in and never worry it would falter or fail. Spiritual faith sees clearly and is evidenced in the most brilliant of ways. Spiritual faith is dynamic, active, powerful, loving, patient, calm, kind, sincere, and I would go so far as to say provable. I have found that spiritual faith is impossible to do, as there are no instructions or manual or someone to tell you how it needs to be done. No, it is something that lives inside of us that we embody in our own way. This is the type of faith that Jesus had, and it's the type of faith I want to talk to you about today. So my talk title this morning is Faith is an Inside Job. And in this talk, I want to share with you 4 things. So the first is what faith is not, and how having this kind of faith can lead to something I like to call faith quakes, when our faith is on shaky ground. Second, we'll talk about what faith is. Obviously, that would be helpful, according to New Thought and Unity teachings, rather than the dictionary's kind of limited, sad version. I will also share with you my newfound understanding and definition of faith, and I hope it helps you as much as it's helping me actively right now in my life. Like I said, I needed this. Next, we will look at faith through the eyes of a caterpillar, because why not, right? And finally, I will share with you Amber's faith formula. It's a little bit complicated. It's a math equation. When I'm not super strong at math, so I'll walk you through it. So please stay till the end. Okay, so let's talk first about what faith is not. So first of all, faith is not a belief. As a matter of fact, Ram Dass says, faith is what is left when your beliefs have all been blown to hell. Right? Next, faith is not outside of us. In her book, Divine Audacity, Linda Martella Whitsett says this: to externalize faith is to disclaim our spiritual power. Faith's power is not in someone or something else. Those who say they have faith in another person or in God believe that someone outside themselves has the power to control, to fix, and to eliminate human problems. God is not a someone who acts, but a principle that is. Again, this resonates as truth for me, and I think it resonates for anyone at Unity or in the New Thought movement because it feels true. Next, faith is not an experience. And Ram Dass goes on to say this: experiences, even spiritual experiences, come and go. As long as you base your faith in experience, your faith is going to be constantly flickering because your experiences keep changing. So, growing up in a religious cult where the charismatic leader proclaimed that he had the one and only truth was somewhat spellbinding. Even though I didn't really believe him, and it did not resonate with me, his message at all, it was easy to get sucked in. He was so confident and so convincing and so filled with certainty that those who followed him did so sincerely and with faith. As humans, it is our very nature to look for that which is greater than ourselves. And because it does not occur to us to look in the most obvious place, which is inside of ourselves, right in our hearts, which is what Jesus was offering, we are taught instead to look elsewhere. We're taught to look outside. And this is how faith quakes happen. What is a faith quake? I'm glad you asked. It's a term I actually made up, and I looked, and turns out there's a book called Faith Quakes, but it actually has nothing to do with my version of faith quakes. And so the definition I have is a faith quake is what happens when we are rooted in relative truths that are subject to change and shift over time. Now, relative truths are what this physical world is made of. It's just the nature of it. Which means if we root ourselves in anything outside of us, a belief system, a person, a book, a religion, an experience, whatever it is, then we are essentially rooting ourselves in something that will shift and change and deteriorate over time. It's just the nature of this world. And when it does, this is when a faith quake occurs. It might be a 3 on the Richter scale and barely shake the ground we walk on, or it could be a 10 and completely rock our entire world. Regardless, we have all experienced them many times, often, throughout our lives. So getting back to the cult I grew up in, the charismatic leader proclaimed that he was the chosen one and that the world was either going to come to an end before he died or directly after. And he said this to everyone many times. He said, and he was 93, if he died and the world did not come to an end, then he was a liar. Okay. Well, guess what happened? Pretty obvious. He died, and the world did not come to an end. As a matter of fact, it kept going. So you can imagine that many in the church were shocked and dismayed that the faith that they had put their entire lives into was built on very shaky ground and wasn't actually true. Dare I say, it was a bunch of lies. And it created huge faith quakes for many, including the church itself, which the very premise, the very foundation it was built on, completely crumbled out from under it. Everything changed. I personally felt relief and thought, phew, glad I didn't have to put my fake faith into that guy anymore and that religion. Okay, so we've established what faith is, that faith is not a belief, it's not outside of us, and it's not an experience. So what is it? So I found many definitions in Unity and New Thought, but here's the one that kind of I came up with that combined a bunch of different definitions, and that is, faith is a transformative opening of our spiritual mind to divine mind, or God. So, and we'll break this down a little bit, but I woke up yesterday morning with an inspired thought from Divine Mind that this journey of transformation through faith can be compared to the life of a caterpillar. And it occurred to me that we are, work with me on this one, spiritual butterflies having a caterpillar experience. I kind of like this metaphor. I'm going to tell you why this came to me. So as many of you know, my mother passed away in 2016. And about 3 months before she died, we did a spirit guide reading with a very talented energy worker. Now, I want to tell you that, this was something my mother would have never dreamed of doing, ever. Under any normal circumstances, no way would she have done this. But of course, when you're dying, nothing is normal. And so, therefore, sky's the limit with what you're willing to do. And so she was willing to do this. And it was hugely, profoundly, magically transformative for her. The woman that we went to confirmed to my mom through her guides that her body was, in fact, dying. This news we knew was true, but it still felt really sad to hear it confirmed. And in a nervous voice, my mom asked, when? When will I die? It was interesting because the guy didn't seem to really understand her question at first. And once she did, she got really enthusiastic. And she replied, "Oh, you mean liftoff." And, we did not know what she meant. My aunt and my mom and I looked at each other like, what is she talking about, liftoff? So the woman went on to explain that the departure of the soul from the body is like the emergence of a butterfly from its cocoon. The body goes through a period of agitation and resistance as it is dying. And then once it is ready, the soul lifts off and is returned to its true home, back to God, back to divine mind, back to light. And so yesterday morning I was thinking, what if this is the same exact thing that happens when we consciously and intentionally open to faith? What if instead of the death of the body, which is an extreme version of this metaphor, the agitation and resistance we feel in our everyday life is actually guiding us to release that which no longer serves us? Those shadow qualities we all have, and those beliefs that we all have in separation and lack, they're strong beliefs. What if through faith, we are allowing our spiritual mind to lift off and become a part of divine mind, a direct connection to source? This is the type of faith that Jesus embodied, and this is what he came here to show us. That through faith, we are able to open to Christ consciousness, to divine mind, to God. And with that, anything is possible. But how? That's an important question. So to take this caterpillar metaphor a step further, we can imagine that the transformative opening to faith, we can imagine that as the cocoon state. And now I'm not a scientist, so I don't know the stages of metamorphosis or anything. But I do know that in order for the caterpillar to transform, it requires a period of stillness and inner work for change to happen. This cocoon state is similar to what we might experience with our own spiritual practice, which often includes solitude, prayer, meditation, reading, affirmations. It's a time to go inward and reflect, a time to connect to our spiritual heart and mind. After all, faith is an inside job. Spiritual mind. Okay, so let's look at this. Spiritual mind, according to Unity teachings, the power center of the body where faith is located is at the very center of our head, between the ears and the eyes. So this is where inner vision and inner hearing are developed through our spiritual practice. And this is where we see things our physical eyes are unable to see, and hear things our physical ears are incapable of hearing. So, our eyes obviously see what's outward, and our ears hear what's around us. And these are things that we practice 24 hours a day, because they're just there. Whereas our inner hearing, our inner vision, that's a muscle we rarely exercise unless we have a very active spiritual practice. And you'll notice that this, they call it the Christ center, is not located in the front of the mind where all the chatter happens, where all the high energy thinking goes on. No, it's strategically placed further back, behind all of that, behind all the noise. And it's waiting patiently for us to open to it. Okay, and finally, what are we opening to? Divine mind. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore described divine mind as the one and only reality. It is the oneness in which we are all a part. It is the absolute truth of God, and it is something we can root our lives in and never experience a shift or a change or deterioration. This is where spiritual law and spiritual truth resides. Faith quakes are impossible here. This is Christ consciousness, and we are all capable of it. The writer of Hebrews defines faith as, and we heard it in Reverend David's meditation, and I love this, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. Okay, so I had a drawing commissioned by an artist I used to be married to. His name is Nathan O'Neill, and he's a very talented artist. And so I feel that this drawing perfectly exemplifies this definition of truth. And I've got it on a slide here, but I'm going to show you it. So you'll see this. It's not pretty. So you'll see this is a beautiful caterpillar meditating, naturally, as caterpillars are wont to do. And you can see that the butterfly is in his field. So the caterpillar is opening up to divine mind and is receiving that which is not seen. The truth, that faith is a deep inner knowing, that that which is sought is already ours for the taking. And, this also exemplifies the fact that she, it looks like a he, but it's a she, is a spiritual butterfly having a caterpillar experience, right? Okay, so how then do we cultivate faith in our lives? Let's talk about that. Get that to stand. Okay. So I read the following excerpt from a book titled Biblical Favorites. And I love this because, like I said, growing up the Bible didn't resonate with me. That's only because the interpretation of it to me fell flat, just bounced right off. So having the Bible interpreted metaphysically is very helpful, and it resonates in a way that it's never resonated before. So reading this part of this book called Biblical Favorites by Jim Lewis was really helpful. And in it, he writes on faith. Paul tells us in Romans 10:17, so then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. So in this case, hearing means that we have to learn to listen with complete and total receptivity, with our inner ears. We can't listen or hear if our minds are fixed and solidified already with many false beliefs that we think are true. So we just have to be open to maybe everything that we think is true might not be. We must be willing to say, God, divine mind, spirit, I want to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. We must also take time each day to listen. To listen means that we make no effort to send special messages of instruction to the universe. It means we become still and listen so that divine mind, God, the good, spirit, can get our attention. If we insist on having it our own way and believing what is not true, then we are not listening. If we refuse to accept the possibility of change in our lives in any area, then we are not listening. If we do not listen, then we do not hear divine mind within us. This means that we do not have revealed to us the meaning and purpose of our lives. It means that we do not get spiritual guidance and understanding. He goes on to explain that listening is not easy. It is ego-shattering. For many of our cherished desires must be given up. Many of our pleasurable habits must be given up. If we are not willing to do this, we will remain on a plateau. We have to keep listening when we do not hear. We should remember that the practice of listening is something that we are going to do for the rest of our lives. We have to keep listening even after we get wonderful and pleasing instructions. We have to keep listening when we hear what is pleasing and what we want to do, but especially keep listening when we hear what we do not want to hear and know we must do. When we do this, then our faith is increased. And when faith is increased, our outer lives change. So with that said, I want to leave you with my much anticipated faith formula. You guys ready? It's complicated. So Amber's faith formula. So we start with asking, putting it out there to God, Spirit, the universe, whatever it is that you call that which is greater than you, outside of you, inside of you. We ask. And we minus tell. We're not telling. We're not dictating what it is. We're asking. Then we add listening cubed. So that's listening times listening times listening. So that's a lot more listening. And remember, we're listening with our inner ears. So practicing, kind of honing in on that skill, that exercise. Plus receiving, being receptive, being open to what comes back to us, through us. Equals increased faith. Easy, right? Piece of cake. And so for the next 24 days of Advent, I encourage you to exercise your faith muscle. I know I am. Utilizing this formula or come up with your own. And remember, just as it was for Jesus, faith is an inside job. And you, my friends, are spiritual butterflies having a caterpillar experience. Thank you. Put this out to display. Thank you.
Amber, are we not blessed? Fabulous music, fabulous message. Oh, hello. Okay, well, now I have to figure out where I am. I'm flustered. Unity stands for peace in the presence of conflict. for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names for God, the many paths to God, for we know there is only one power, one presence, one life. So whoever you are and wherever you are on your journey of transformation, you are more than welcome here. We would especially like to welcome anyone who is here for the first time. If this is your first time here and you feel comfortable raising your hand, our ushers have a gift packet for you. So is there anyone here for the first time? There? And couple over there, Diane? Anybody in this quadrant? Okay. On the outside of the packet, there is a form you can fill out to be added to our mailing list for our weekly e-news update and our quarterly newsletter. You can drop it in the love offering basket, or you can take it outside to the welcome desk or the bookstore over there. Also, after the service, you could take this packet to our barista stand and get a free beverage of your choice. I will make it for you. Or Dee or Donna. So anyway, if you have any questions or like a name tag, please visit our information desk and speak to one of our welcome team members. We would also like to welcome our online viewers. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed the service as much as we did. Now it's time to welcome and greet each other with a handshake, a high five, a hug, or a namaste, whatever works best for you. Before we do that, let's begin with our welcome song.
All right, you can stand up and great. We're going to sing Deck the Halls. Deck the halls with lights of holly, la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, la 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 la. Donning our gay apparel, la 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 la. Join the ancient Yuletide carol, la 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 la. See the blazing before us, la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, la 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 la. Harmony in every ocean, la 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 la. What a terrible Yuletide treasure, la 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 la. Masters, deck the halls with lights of holly, la 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 la.
Oh, there you are. I knew it was around.
What? Good morning. It was wonderful to hear the Amber's talk on faith. And I have faith that the Cougs will always lose to the Huskies. And I have faith I will always get this reaction. Good morning. My name is Jim Sledge. I have the privilege of being the treasurer on your board of trustees, and this is a time of our community giving. We all know that this is a time of giving and receiving, and we'll be doing a lot of that in the next 3 to 4 weeks. But I'd like you to also consider a special gift to your Unity community during this time, because we all know that we feel better when we give. And so please consider a special gift during this time as well. We know that gratitude and generosity go hand in hand. So let's take that thought into our hearts as we say together our prosperity blessing. Together, I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance is mine to share. So it is.
So I'm pleased to introduce to you one of our newer choir members, Janice. And she, as you can see, has this beautiful instrument that I think you will enjoy tremendously. And I want to tell you that she will be one of the features on our show.
Once again, just fabulous. We are so richly blessed. So we give thanks for these gifts. Hi, Linda. and for those who have given them, as we send them forth to bless our world. We are so thankful for everything everyone gives, for their talents and their treasure and their time. And there's so many of us that do that. So thank you, everyone. As we are giving thanks for the gifts we are receiving at Unity Spiritual Center, we want to thank all those in service to our ministry. Today we are saying a special thank you to Sisters in Spirit. Is there anyone here that is part of the Sisters in Spirit team? And if you are, please stand and let us acknowledge you. Thank you, and we are so grateful for your service and for the rest of the Sisters in Spirit team who couldn't be here. Our chaplains today are Al Koenigsfeld. He's a solo act. He has been holding the entire service in prayer, which one of our chaplains does every service. If you have anything that is heavy on your heart, or you're celebrating a great joy and you would like to share that, you can pray with Al, and he will hold it in prayer with you. He will be at the front of the sanctuary right after the service today. Thank you for your service, Al. You can also fill in a prayer request form found in the seat back pocket in front of you and put it in one of our prayer boxes. There's one at the back of the sanctuary and one in the foyer. Our prayer team will pray with you for 7 days, and then your prayer requests will be sent to Unity Village to be prayed over in silent unity for 30 days. And if you know of someone who is in the hospital and has requested a visit from one of our chaplains, please fill in the visitation request form also in the seat back pocket and place it in the prayer box. So I think it is time for our children. I don't hear them or see them, but I know they're there. Have faith. The what? I have faith, yeah. They will appear. Today is the first Sunday of the month, which makes it Birthday Sunday. Sorry. So if you have a birthday in the month of December, please stand while we sing the birthday song. Anyone? Oh, there's a few birthdays. There's a few. Oh, there's not. Oh, boy. Happy birthday, happy birthday, we love you. Happy birthday, and may all your dreams come true. When you blow out the candles, one light stays aglow. It's the love light in your eyes. grateful for all our young people here at Unity Spiritual Center. Let's take a moment to bless our children, our youth, and all those in their blessed service to Unity Youth. Be the love you are. Sing the song you hear. Share your joy of life with people far and near. And for ourselves, be the love we are. Sing the song we hear. Share our joy of life with people far and near. Now, before the children leave, go for it, Amber.
Okay. Am I on? Yeah. Advent begins today, as we have mentioned. We start a 4-week journey into Christmas. Today we will light our first Advent candle. Each Sunday we will invite a family to come forth and light one more candle than the week before as we prepare ourselves for the birth of the Christ child within. Our Advent wreath up here is round and represents, what does it represent? The completeness that we have in spirit. So we begin by lighting our first candle, and we are joined by Elizabeth and Ezra. Woo! And do you want to use that microphone too, Elizabeth? You have to say the thing. No, you're fine? Okay.
We light this candle to represent faith.
He did great. Good job, Ezra. So together, let us say our faith affirmation. Together, through faith, I am centered and guided every step of every day. Thank you very much. Good job, everybody. You can go find your people. Your peeps. I don't know where your people are.
Okay, I think every child found a parent. So please join me for the closing prayer. Stand if you are able. The light of God surrounds us, and the light of God. The love of God enfolds us, and the love of God. The power of God protects us, and the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well. And that's the truth.
Now go. Remember that you are spiritual butterflies having a caterpillar experience.